The youngest daughter of Joni Lamb is Rebecca Lamb Weiss. She hasn't always been quiet about her mom's choices, especially her marriage to Doug Weiss. In fact, Rebecca made it clear that she didn't like their relationship before it got serious. She wasn't afraid to say how she felt, and it was clear that she didn't like the idea of her mom marrying Doug. Now that it's a while later, people are asking why Rebecca and JW have been so quiet about everything. Things weren't always this way, though. Rebecca talked to her mom about it right before Joni and Doug's wedding on June 10, 2023. A secret tape from May of that year has been found in which Joni Lamb talks about the very heated argument. Joni says Rebecca didn't back down and stood up to her during a heated fight. It was clear that Rebecca wasn't afraid to disagree with her mom about this. Anyway, Becca just lost it. "I can't see the grandchildren anymore," she said. "It's so mean that I can't post anything. He keeps saying that I'm full of the devil, have devils, and that he cast SP on me." These are the words she used to address me, and they will not happen again. "Yeah, you two should just spend some time together and work this out." At some point, I did tell her she was spoiled, self-centered, and selfish. Maybe not now. That's what I said. "You won't say those things over me," she says. "But they're true," I replied. "Yes," she kept screaming over and over again, and I tried to leave the driveway because Asher could hear all of this after they got out of the car. The only reason I came was to spend time with him. As I begin to pull away, she opens the passenger door and keeps going. "Please close the door," I told them. "Please close the door," she said. "Put the door shut." Then, "These are the things you want here." Then I have to park the car, get out, turn around, and close the door. You can see her and Asher standing there. "Keep the door shut," I told them. "Leaving. This is over." She opens the door again as I get back in to leave. I get out, walk around, and shut the door. 14 times. After that, I pull out. That wasn't something I thought would happen. I wouldn't have gone by to get Asher if I had known about that meeting. It began, and the first hour was great. When I asked her how things started, she said, "Mom, you really hurt my feelings by throwing me out of the house." "I didn't kick you out of the house," I told her. "I told you that I didn't feel safe with you all going into the house without me being there while I was in Colorado." She kept saying, "Well, when you kick someone out of the house, they were there before you kicked them out, right? That was the thing then." Right after that, I talked to Jimmy about it. "Last year, I paid for the 1-year birthday party, and it's coming up. She moved it back to, so is Doug. I don't want Doug there," she said. I told him he'll be there if I pay for the party, and it's at my house while he's here for the weekend. Joni Weiss said that Doug Weiss stayed at her house for the weekend before they got married. She is a Christian leader, and that is not a good standard for her to follow. Also, she should have been grieving her husband, but Doug is spending the weekends at her house instead. It doesn't make sense and seems like there are no limits at all. Not only does this recording show how angry Rebecca was, but it also pretty much proves that Joni and Doug were kissing before they got married. I mean, just the fact that you're making out hard, like right away? I'm not sorry about that, though. We did kiss because we were curious about whether we felt that way about each other. There may be a problem. FaceTime, we talked for 60 hours in July. If there is a problem, Jimmy, is it making out? I sure kissed the H-dog out of him, so no way. But it looks like Jimmy Evans didn't think it was a problem for Doug to spend the weekends at Jan's house, or for them to kiss before they got married. Really, that's shocking. This is not something a Christian leader would ever agree with. Only to make his friends happy or to keep Joni happy did he break the rules. It makes sense that he quit his marriage mission, to be honest. How can you talk about the importance of marriage when you allow this kind of behavior? Anyway, let's listen to the Rebecca and Janie recording again because there's more to explore there. "I don't want Doug there," she said. I told him, he'll be there if I pay for the party, and it's at my house while he's here for the weekend. That set off the alarm. Remember when you told me he didn't have to? I told you I never said that. I didn't say I was going to buy that, but you did. I actually told Jimmy about this, and he told me, you have to set that boundaries now. He's going to live with you. She can't use that kind of power over you. She'll try it again later if she does it now. Yet, she told me, you're canceling your grandson's birthday party for the first time. You're taking it away. I'm not taking it away. I said. I told you that you would get paid for it, but you wouldn't lie to me and say, come exactly. It was crazy. He heard her on the phone when she was yelling. Not because of you, but because she was yelling. We were having fun with Scrabble. Listen to this nonsense, Mom said. She wasn't even trying to find her. Rebecca took off her clothes. She is saying, I'm making you stand up. This is bad because you're not being a Christian mom. And I thought, what? Even though I like Rebecca. And I've also been guilty of acting that way. Yeah, I think everyone in the family is just trying to be a good mom, but Rachel has been really nice to me. She might be saying something different, but at least I accept that, and she's also been nice to him. The way Rebecca treated Doug was rude. She looked at me as she walked by and said, "Hello, what's up?" he asks. "You're dirty." What is that I can feel? What is that? There's no doubt that Joni surrounded herself with people who always agree with her. When it came to her relationship with Doug, her kids should have been the one she paid the most attention to, but she didn't seem to care about their worries or even value their advice. They are her kids and the people she cares about most. Instead, she ignored them and didn't care what they thought about her connection that wasn't biblical. The fact that someone said they didn't trust Rebecca to be at her house when she wasn't there shows how distant and formal her relationship with her kids really was. It breaks my heart. This is what takes place when power and money are involved. You start breaking the rules to make your story fit. They even tried to make it sound like God was involved in this relationship. Do you remember those articles? How God suddenly brought Joni Lamb and Weiss together, or Joni Lamb and Doug Weiss's love story. They seem to be trying to sell a fairy tale while ignoring the obvious problems. Now, Rebecca hasn't said a word, which is strange because she spoke out against Joni and Doug's marriage before they even got married. Jonathan told us that she did sign an NDA, though. Joni was quick to offer Rebecca money to keep quiet because she knew Rebecca would speak out. It's really sad. Rebecca had strong feelings about this, but she can't say anything about it anymore because of the law. It's not like they just don't want to talk. Because Becca and JW have made up their minds. They made that choice on purpose, and I accept choices and limits. From what I hear, JW wrote a very powerful letter about his worries. Yes, he did. He gave it to me to read, and it was just a list of everything he had seen, all the different details that really pointed to Pete as the criminal. Again, that showed that they were on our side 100%. But sadly, they signed the NDA and chose to say, I can tell you right now, Jonathan won't mind he didn't get a loan to buy his house. He went to a bank like everyone else, so they don't owe him anything. At the same time, only the girls are helping him. Each of them went to Daystar and got big loans with possibly crazy high interest rates. Now they have homes. Why didn't you get a loan? I asked them directly, Jonathan, when I was there with them the other night. I think that was right, he says. Yes, 2 days in a row, Santla. Why didn't JR help you get a mortgage? He thought it was wrong. In this case, the man is honest. Marcus had faith in this man, knew him, and wanted him to lead Daystar while he was away. The new guys come in as soon as his body is pulled out of the grave. If he isn't reading the happy emails, his mom starts to follow him around and yell at him for no reason. It's clear that money has become a strong way to silence opponents and buy loyalty, especially in cases like this. Everyone knows that powerful and wealthy people can use their power to shape the story, silence those who disagree, and surround themselves with people who will always be on their side. But here's the thing: money can only cover up the truth for so long. Take the case of Rebecca as an example. For good reason, she was one of the loudest people who spoke out against Joni's friendship with Doug Weiss. She is family and knows about the problem firsthand, so she wasn't just a random critic. But Joni allegedly used money and an NDA to silence her instead of listening to what she had to say. It's the best way to pay to stay quiet. It might work for a little while, but it doesn't hide the truth. It only delays what will happen anyway. The issue with this method is that it doesn't fix anything. All it does is hide the mistake. Things always seem to come back to the top in the end. When something doesn't make sense, people will notice. And the more you try to buy support or quiet, the clearer it is that you're trying to hide something. Honesty and trustworthiness are the most important things in leadership, especially Christian leadership. It's tough to get those back once they're broken. The truth always comes out, no matter how much money is spent on the case. The question is how long someone can keep this up before things fall apart. What do you think? Are you sure that this method ever works, or do you think it only makes things worse when the truth comes out?